Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I am so grateful you have joined me today, and I can't wait to dive into something that has the power to change your life. There is a misconception that if a woman is single for a long time, something must be wrong. Society whispers that she is incomplete, that time is running out, that she must settle before it's too late. But let me tell you the truth. Singleness is not a problem to be solved. It is a season to be embraced. You are not waiting to be chosen, you are already chosen. You are not incomplete, you are whole. If you have been single for a long time, it is not a punishment, it is preparation. You are not being overlooked, you are being refined. Diamonds are not found on the surface, they are formed in the deep, under pressure, over time. And when they emerge, they are priceless. The worst mistake a woman can make is to rush into the arms of a man simply to escape loneliness. The need for validation can become a trap, leading to relationships that drain instead of build. Love is not about desperation, it is about destiny. And anything tied to destiny cannot be rushed. Singleness is not about waiting, it is about becoming. Becoming stronger, becoming wiser, becoming all that you were created to be. The right person is not attracted to neediness, but to wholeness. You don't prepare for a relationship by looking for love. You prepare by growing in purpose, in confidence, in self-respect. When you walk in purpose, the right partner will recognize and align with your vision. There is a reason you have been single for this long. There is a purpose behind your process. Do not let the fear of time push you into the arms of the wrong person. It is better to walk alone in purpose than to be lost in partnership with someone who cannot see your value. A woman who has built herself in singleness is a woman who cannot be broken in marriage. She enters love not out of fear of loneliness, but out of the overflow of strength and joy. And when the time is right, she will not have to chase love. It will find her, honor her, and cherish her. From childhood, many are conditioned to believe that life's ultimate goal is to find a partner, as if being single is a temporary state of deficiency. But singleness is not a curse. It is a gift, a season of life that allows for self-discovery, growth, and preparation. It is a time when a person can focus fully on understanding themselves, their passions, and their purpose without distractions or compromises. A person who sees singleness as a burden will rush through it, desperate to escape what they perceive as loneliness. But loneliness is not the absence of people, it is the absence of purpose. When a woman embraces her singleness, she realizes that it is not about waiting for someone to complete her, but about becoming complete in herself. This season provides an opportunity to build emotional, spiritual, and mental strength, which are crucial for any relationship. Many people enter relationships seeking happiness, unaware that true joy comes from within. A relationship cannot fill an internal void, and relying on another person for fulfillment only leads to disappointment. Singleness allows a woman to cultivate inner joy, develop confidence, and establish a deep sense of identity that is not dependent on external validation. During this time, she has the freedom to explore her dreams, build her career, travel, learn new skills, and invest in herself in ways that might be more challenging when she has to consider the needs and desires of a partner. She can establish strong relationships with friends and family, deepen her faith, and create a life that is fulfilling on its own. The ability to embrace singleness transforms it from a period of waiting into a period of becoming. It is a season to be lived fully, not endured, because a person who is whole in singleness will bring strength and completeness into any future relationship. Many believe that entering a relationship will complete them, as if they are halves searching for another half to make them whole. But no relationship can fill a void that only personal growth and self-awareness can satisfy. A woman must first embrace her own wholeness before stepping into togetherness with another. When two incomplete people come together, they do not create completeness. They create dependency, frustration, and emotional instability. True togetherness is not about completing each other, but about complementing each other. Wholeness means knowing who you are, understanding your worth, and living in alignment with your purpose. It is about being content with yourself, confident in your identity, and secure in your journey. Many people enter relationships seeking validation, hoping that love from another will heal their insecurities. But no person can give what only personal growth can provide. The healthiest relationships are built when both individuals bring fullness, not emptiness. Singleness is the season to cultivate wholeness. It is the time to heal from past wounds, develop emotional maturity, and strengthen personal values. A woman who rushes into a relationship without doing the inner work often finds herself molding into someone else's expectations, losing sight of her own purpose. But a woman who is whole does not settle for less than she deserves because she understands her value. She does not fear being alone because she has built a life that is rich and fulfilling on its own. When two whole individuals come together, love becomes an addition, not a necessity. They walk together not out of desperation, but out of choice. Their connection is not built on neediness, but on mutual respect, shared purpose, and genuine companionship. Wholeness is not just preparation for love. It is the foundation upon which lasting love is built. Time spent alone is not time wasted. It is time to build. In a world that glorifies relationships and companionship, solitude is often misunderstood. But seasons of singleness provide a rare opportunity to focus on personal growth, dreams, and purpose without distractions. It is a time when a woman can invest in herself, develop her skills, and shape the future she envisions. Many people view singleness as a waiting period, a phase to endure until the right person arrives. But those who embrace it as a time for building see it differently. It is a season to deepen self-awareness, strengthen emotional resilience, and pursue ambitions with undivided focus. It is the time to nurture passions, expand knowledge, and create a life that is fulfilling on its own. When a woman maximizes this period, she steps into relationships as a person of value rather than someone searching for validation. Every great structure requires time to be built. Rushing the process leads to instability. And the same principle applies to personal growth. A woman who uses her time alone wisely lays the foundation for a strong future. She explores new interests, sets meaningful goals, and works towards financial independence. She cultivates relationships with friends and family, develops a deeper connection with her faith, and learns the art of self-love. This season is also an opportunity for healing. Past wounds, disappointments, and fears do not disappear simply because a new relationship begins. They must be addressed, processed, and resolved. Time alone allows for introspection, helping a woman become emotionally whole and mentally strong. When she eventually meets the right person, she brings completeness, confidence, and purpose into the relationship. She does not look for someone to build her life. She builds it herself, making any future relationship a partnership rather than a rescue mission. Many women are led to believe that being single means waiting for love, waiting for the right person, waiting for life to truly begin. But singleness is not a waiting room. It is a transformation process. It is not about standing still in anticipation of someone else's arrival, but about evolving into the best version of oneself. Every day in this season is an opportunity to grow, to build, and to step further into purpose. Waiting implies passivity, but becoming is an active journey. It is about discovering strengths, refining character, and unlocking hidden potential. A woman who sees herself as waiting may feel stagnant, believing her life is incomplete until she finds a partner. But a woman who sees herself as becoming knows that every experience, challenge, and victory is shaping her into the person she is meant to be. She understands that fulfillment does not come from a relationship, but from living a life of purpose and passion. Loving means healing from past wounds, breaking unhealthy patterns, and developing emotional maturity. It means embracing independence, learning to stand strong in one's values, and cultivating joy that is not dependent on external circumstances. It is about setting goals, taking risks, and stepping into new opportunities without fear of doing it alone. A woman who is becoming does not shrink herself to fit someone else's expectations. She rises to the fullness of her potential. The beauty of this process is that when love does come, it finds a person who is already whole, already thriving, and already complete. She does not enter a relationship seeking completion, but as someone who brings value, strength, and purpose into it. She is not waiting for life to start. She is already living, growing, and becoming all she was created to be. Life often feels like a race, with timelines imposed by society, culture, and personal expectations. Many believe they must achieve certain milestones by a specific age: marriage, children, career success, fearing that any delay means they are falling behind. But no one is ever late when they are walking in divine timing. God's plan is not bound by human schedules, and his timing is always perfect. What may seem like a delay is often divine protection, preparation, or positioning for something greater. It is easy to become discouraged when prayers seem unanswered, especially in matters of love and relationships. A woman may wonder why others are finding companionship while she remains single. She may question whether something is wrong with her, whether she has been overlooked or forgotten. But what looks like silence from God is often his way of working behind the scenes, orchestrating events in ways beyond human understanding. He is not just preparing the right partner, he's also preparing her. A premature blessing can become a burden, and a rushed relationship can lead to heartbreak. God does not withhold good things. He releases them at the right moment. The waiting season is not meant to be endured with frustration, but embraced with faith. It is a time to trust, to grow, and to walk confidently in purpose. When the right person arrives, it will not feel forced or desperate. The connection will be marked by peace, alignment, and clarity. Trusting divine timing means surrendering control and believing that what is meant will come at the appointed time. No opportunity is ever missed when placed in God's hands. What he has planned is not just good, it is the best. The key is to remain faithful, patient, and focused, knowing that everything will unfold exactly as it should. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I'm so grateful you have joined me today, and I can't wait to dive into something that has the power to change your life. Let me tell you something today. When a man craves you, yet remains silent, his silence is a revelation, not a mystery. His hesitation is not without meaning. His lack of pursuit is not without cause. You must understand that silence is never empty. Silence speaks. It carries weight, and its message is clear. Either he is not ready, or he does not value you enough to break through his own fears. Listen carefully. A man who truly desires something moves towards it. If he is hungry, he seeks food. If he is thirsty, he finds water. If he wants success, he chases after it with passion. So why is it that when it comes to someone he supposedly craves, he remains still? Because craving without action is nothing but a fantasy. Some of you are waiting, questioning, hoping that one day he will wake up and find his voice. But let me tell you the truth. A man's silence is not your burden to carry. His confusion is not your responsibility to fix. You are not a waiting room where he can sit and think about whether or not he will rise to the occasion. A king does not wait to be called to his throne. He steps into it with confidence. A real man, when he recognizes value, will not leave it unattended. Hear me. You were never meant to chase, to decode, to wonder. Your worth demands clarity, not confusion. Your presence is a gift, not a guessing game. If he craves you, but his lips remain sealed and his feet refuse to move, he has already made a decision. And that decision is not to pursue you. You deserve a man who sees you, acknowledges you, and acts. A man who will break through fear, silence, and hesitation because what he sees in you is too valuable to lose. You are not an option. You are not an afterthought. You are not someone to be placed on hold while he battles his own uncertainty. Desire is a powerful force, but when it lacks expression, it creates confusion rather than connection. A man may crave something deeply, but if he remains silent, his desire loses its meaning. What good is a fire that never produces warmth? What good is hunger that never reaches for food? In the same way, longing that does not translate into action leads only to frustration, uncertainty, and emotional exhaustion for both the one who desires and the one being desired. Many people mistake silent desire for hidden depth, assuming that a man's reluctance to express himself means he is processing, contemplating, or waiting for the right moment. But in truth, the absence of action is itself an action. A man who wants something but does not pursue it either does not want it enough or is bound by fears, insecurities, or circumstances that override his craving. And in either case, silence only breeds confusion. When someone remains passive despite their yearning, it places the burden of interpretation on the other person. It forces questions that should never have to be asked. Does he truly want me? Is he waiting for a sign? Should I wait for him to speak? This uncertainty creates emotional turmoil, making the one being desired feel unseen, undervalued, or trapped in a cycle of guessing. Desire was never meant to be silent. It was designed to be expressed, acted upon, and demonstrated through clear intention. When a man truly wants something, his actions will align with his emotions. Without expression, desire is not love, commitment, or pursuit. It is merely an idea floating in the mind, unable to bridge the gap between thought and reality. Silence is never empty. It always carries a message. When words are absent, actions or inactions fill the space, speaking louder than anything that could be said. People often assume that silence means uncertainty, hesitation, or deep thought, but more often than not, it is a clear response. A man's silence in the presence of desire is not accidental. It is intentional. It reveals priorities, fears, or a lack of readiness that no amount of wishful thinking can change. When someone truly values something, they acknowledge it, they move towards it, protect it, and make it known. Silence then becomes an indication of how much or how little something matters. If a man craves but does not speak, desires but does not pursue, then his silence is saying what his words refuse to admit. He may be battling insecurities, emotional wounds, or personal struggles, but regardless of the reason, his silence is communicating a truth that cannot be ignored. The challenge is that silence often invites interpretation. It leaves room for the mind to create assumptions, for emotions to fill in the gaps, for hope to build expectations that were never confirmed. It forces the other person to search for meaning in absence, to analyze small details, to justify the lack of clarity. But silence by itself is already the answer. It says, I am not ready. It says, I am unsure. It says, this is not my priority right now. No one is ever truly silent. Even when words are withheld, choices and actions still speak. And if silence is causing confusion, then the message is clear. Something is missing. And what is missing is intentional expression. Craving without commitment is a sign of immaturity because desire alone is never enough to sustain anything meaningful. Craving is natural. It is the initial pull, the emotional spark, the longing that stirs a person's heart. But without commitment, craving remains selfish, fleeting, and unreliable. It is easy to want something. It is much harder to take responsibility for it. A man who craves but does not commit is not truly ready for what he desires. Immaturity is revealed when a man enjoys the feeling of wanting but avoids the responsibility of having. He may admire, desire, and even express interest, but when the moment comes to step forward and take ownership of that desire, he hesitates. He enjoys the thrill of pursuit but fears the weight of responsibility. He wants the connection but not the sacrifice, the closeness but not the duty, the presence but not the promise. This creates an emotional imbalance where one person invests while the other simply enjoys the benefits of being wanted without reciprocating in action. Commitment is what transforms craving into something real. It turns emotion into effort, interest into investment, and passion into purpose. Without commitment, craving remains an empty feeling, an illusion that fades when difficulties arise. A man who is truly mature understands that love is not just about longing, it is about responsibility. He knows that if he wants something, he must nurture it, protect it, and be willing to do what it takes to keep it. Craving without commitment is a temporary high, a moment of excitement without depth. It offers promises but delivers uncertainty. It excites but does not secure. And in the end, it leaves behind more confusion than fulfillment, proving that desire alone is never enough. Silence is rarely without cause. When a man desires something but hesitates to express it, his silence often signals an internal struggle that is deeper than what appears on the surface. It is easy to assume that silence means disinterest, but many times it reveals fear, uncertainty, or unresolved emotional battles that hold a person back from taking action. Desire may exist, but if the mind is clouded with doubt, insecurity, or past wounds, silence becomes a way of avoiding confrontation with one's own weaknesses. A man who struggles internally may fear rejection, believing that expressing his desire could lead to pain or failure. He may have been hurt before, and instead of stepping forward, he hesitates, unsure if he can handle the risk of vulnerability. Silence in this case becomes a defense mechanism, a way to protect himself from the possibility of being unwanted or unworthy. He may also be wrestling with his own identity, questioning whether he is capable of offering what is required in a relationship. The weight of expectation can make him withdraw, even when his heart longs to move forward. Another source of internal struggle could be conflicting priorities. He may desire connection, yet feel unprepared for the responsibility it brings. He may want to pursue, but also feel the pressure of personal ambitions, family expectations, or financial uncertainties that make commitment seem overwhelming. Instead of communicating these struggles, he remains silent, leaving the other person confused about his true intentions. Silence in the presence of desire is rarely accidental. It is often the result of an inner war between what a man wants and what he fears. Until he confronts his internal struggles, his silence will continue to speak louder than his craving, leaving uncertainty in its wake. A woman is not a puzzle waiting to be figured out, nor a riddle that requires decoding. She is a person of value, deserving of clarity, respect, and intentionality. When a man claims to desire her but remains distant, hesitant, or confused, it is not because she is too complex. It is because he is unwilling or unable to step up with certainty. The idea that a man must first figure her out before taking action places an unfair burden on the woman, as if she must wait to be chosen, understood, or pursued at his convenience. When a man sees something he truly values, he does not waste time in doubt or hesitation. He does not sit in silence waiting for signs, signals, or perfect moments. He moves with purpose because he understands that what he desires is worth the effort. The notion that a woman must be solved before she is pursued is simply an excuse used by those who are not ready to commit. It allows a man to linger in indecision, making the woman feel like she is too complicated, too unpredictable, or too much to handle. But the truth is, it is not about her complexity. It is about his inability to meet her at the level of clarity and intention she deserves. No woman should feel like an unsolved equation waiting for a man to gather the courage to make sense of his own feelings. She is not an enigma requiring analysis, but a person requiring respect. A man who truly wants her will not make her feel like a mystery. He will make her feel seen, understood, and valued. The moment she begins to feel like a question instead of an answer is the moment she must recognize that the problem is not her, it is his. Uncertainty. True love is not meant to be a guessing game. It does not leave a person in uncertainty, wondering where they stand or questioning the sincerity of someone's feelings. Love, in its purest form, is clear, intentional, and direct. When a man truly loves, he does not create confusion, he eliminates it. He does not send mixed signals, remain silent, or keep the other person in emotional limbo. Instead, he makes his intentions known because love is not afraid of clarity. Confusion is a sign of hesitation, inconsistency, or emotional immaturity. When someone deeply cares but refuses to communicate that care, it forces the other person to search for meaning in the absence of words and actions. They begin analyzing every little detail, trying to make sense of behaviors that should have been clear from the start. This kind of emotional uncertainty is not love. It is emotional instability disguised as interest. Love does not keep a person second guessing. It reassures them, builds trust, and provides security. A man who genuinely loves will not make a woman question his presence in her life. He will not retreat into silence when she needs reassurance, nor will he expect her to read between the lines to understand his heart. His love will be evident in his words, his consistency, and his actions. True love does not breed stress, insecurity, or emotional exhaustion. It brings peace, confidence, and a sense of belonging. Any relationship that thrives on confusion is one that lacks true commitment. Love is not afraid to define itself. It is not afraid to stand firm. It does not leave room for doubt, because at its core, love is about choosing someone every single day with certainty, not hesitation. Value is never meant to be ignored. When something is precious, it commands recognition, respect, and action. A person who truly sees worth in something does not hesitate, remain passive, or treat it as optional. In the same way, when a woman carries herself with value, it demands a response. Either a man will rise to meet her standard, or he will reveal through his inaction that he is not ready for what she brings. Silence, hesitation, and inconsistency are all responses in themselves. They signal either appreciation or disregard, intentional pursuit or passive neglect. A man who genuinely recognizes value does not sit back and watch. He steps forward with clarity. He does not allow fear, uncertainty, or personal struggles to keep him from expressing what he sees in someone he desires. If he is passive despite his craving, then the issue is not with the woman, it is with his ability to rise to the occasion. No woman should ever feel the need to convince someone of her worth, to prove she is worth effort, or to wait endlessly for a man to act. A woman's value does not decrease simply because someone fails to recognize or respond to it appropriately. The way a person responds to value reveals their readiness for it. If a man remains silent despite his desire, then his silence is an admission that he is unwilling or unable to step up. And when someone fails to respond to value, the answer is clear. They were never the right match to begin with. A woman who knows her worth does not wait in confusion. She understands that true appreciation is always followed by intentional action, and anything less is not a reflection of her value, but of the other person's inability to handle it. Silence, hesitation, and confusion are not signs of love. They are signs of uncertainty. A man who truly desires you will not leave you wondering, questioning, or waiting in emotional limbo. He will pursue with clarity, speak with intention, and act with purpose. If he craves you but remains silent, his silence is already the answer. Your value is not something to be debated, figured out, or delayed until someone is ready. it demands a response. And if that response is hesitation, then he is not the one meant to handle the weight of your worth. Never mistake silence for depth, hesitation for sincerity, or confusion for love. True love is bold, clear, and intentional. It does not make you feel like a mystery to be solved or an option to be considered. It makes you feel seen, chosen, and valued. You do not have to convince the right person of your worth. The right one will recognize it and act without delay. So, stand firm in who you are. Do not shrink yourself to fit into someone's indecision. Do not wait for a man to find his voice when his silence is already speaking volumes. Love does not keep you guessing. It reassures, pursues, and commits. If he truly wants you, he will show you. And if he does not, let his silence be the closure you need to move forward with confidence, knowing that what is truly meant for you will never leave you in confusion. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I'm so grateful you have joined me today. And I can't wait to dive into something that has the power to change your life. A woman who knows her worth is a woman who knows when to walk away. She does not beg for love. She does not chase after a man's approval. And she does not lose herself trying to keep what is not willing to stay. The most powerful women in history were not the ones who held on too tightly. They were the ones who knew when to let go. Men are wired to pursue, to conquer, to cherish what they value. And nothing is more valuable to a man than a woman who refuses to be controlled by fear. The fear of being alone, the fear of losing love, the fear of starting over. These fears keep too many women trapped in relationships where they are not honored. But when a woman detaches with power, she sends a clear message. I am the prize, and only those who treat me as such will have access to me. There is something magnetic about a woman who does not need validation to feel complete. She is not desperate. She is not waiting to be chosen. She has already chosen herself. And because she walks in that confidence, men do not take her for granted. They respect her. They admire her. They fear losing her. A woman who can detach with power does not play emotional games. She simply understands her value. She does not entertain half-hearted love or broken promises. She does not accept less than what she deserves. And when a man senses that she is willing to walk away, he is forced to step up or step aside. This is not arrogance, this is wisdom. This is the understanding that love must be a choice, not a chain. The moment a woman clings out of desperation, she loses her influence. The moment she becomes too afraid to let go, she gives away her power. But when a woman stands firm in who she is, when she detaches from anything that diminishes her light, she attracts the kind of love that is built on honor, not obligation. She becomes unforgettable. She becomes irreplaceable. And she inspires the kind of devotion that every woman truly desires. A woman's strength is not measured by how much she can endure, but by her ability to walk away from what no longer honors her. Too often, women are conditioned to believe that holding on is a sign of love, that sacrifice is proof of devotion, but true strength is knowing when to let go. It is recognizing that staying in a situation that drains her spirit is not love. It is self-betrayal. A woman who understands her worth does not beg for affection, nor does she remain where she is not valued. She refuses to let fear of loneliness keep her in spaces that diminish her. She knows that walking away is not an act of weakness, but of courage. It takes strength to step into the unknown, to trust that she is enough, even without the approval of another. When a woman walks away with power, she sends a message, not just to the world, but to herself. She declares that she is not an option, not a convenience, but a person of value. Men respect a woman who has the strength to leave, for she proves that she is not dependent on anyone for her happiness. She stands firm in her dignity, knowing that what she lets go of was never meant to define her. Her ability to detach is a reflection of her confidence. She does not cling to empty promises or entertain inconsistency. She does not negotiate her standards for temporary comfort. She moves forward, not because she lacks love, but because she loves herself enough to choose peace over attachment. The strength to walk away is the power to rewrite her own story, to reclaim her identity, and to embrace the life she truly deserves. Detachment is not about being cold or unfeeling. It is about valuing oneself enough to step away from anything that does not align with one's dignity. A woman who practices detachment is a woman who understands that self-respect comes before any relationship, before any emotional attachment, and before any desire to be wanted. She does not beg for love or force connections to work. Instead, she recognizes that real love flows naturally, and anything that requires her to compromise her self-worth is not worth holding on to. When a woman detaches with power, she sets a standard. She teaches others how to treat her by refusing to settle for anything less than she deserves. She does not allow inconsistency, disrespect, or neglect to have a place in her life. She knows that her time, energy, and presence are valuable, and she will not waste them on situations that do not serve her growth. Detachment is the decision to prioritize herself, to choose inner peace over toxic attachments, and to walk away from anything that makes her question her own worth. A woman who respects herself does not fear loss. She does not cling to relationships out of desperation or the fear of being alone. She understands that the wrong attachments weaken her while the right decisions empower her. She knows that true love should never require her to abandon herself. Detachment is not about rejecting love. It is about making room for the right kind of love. It is about saying, I honor myself enough to let go of anything that does not honor me. When a woman reaches this level of self-awareness, she does not chase, she attracts. She does not beg, she chooses. And in doing so, she commands the respect she truly deserves. Men are wired to pursue, to fight for what they value, and to protect what they believe is precious. The moment a man senses that something he desires is slipping away, his instinct is to chase after it. This is not about playing games, it is about understanding human nature. What is too easily available is often taken for granted, but what can be lost is cherished. A woman who understands this never begs for attention, nor does she cling to a man out of fear. Instead, she operates from a place of confidence, knowing that her presence is a privilege, not a right. A man does not truly appreciate a woman who is always waiting, always available, always compromising to keep him. When he knows she is willing to walk away rather than settle for less, he is forced to decide whether he values her enough to step up. The uncertainty of losing her makes him see her worth in ways he never did before. It forces him to evaluate his own actions, to question whether he has done enough to keep her in his life. Men are natural competitors. They respect what they must work for, and they invest in what they fear losing. A woman who knows her value does not need to demand effort. Her ability to detach naturally commands it. She does not issue ultimatums or threats. She simply moves forward when she feels unappreciated. The fear of her absence creates a shift in a man's mind. It pushes him to act, to change, to do better. It is not about manipulation, but about setting a standard. Love should never be one-sided. When a woman knows that she is a prize, a man either rises to meet her or watches her walk away, knowing he has lost something rare. Emotional independence is one of the most powerful traits a woman can possess. A woman who is whole within herself, who does not rely on a man to validate her existence, becomes incredibly attractive. She is not needy, she is not desperate for attention, and she does not place the weight of her happiness on someone else's shoulders. This level of confidence and self-sufficiency naturally draws men toward her because she represents a challenge, a mystery, and a sense of fulfillment that does not come from external validation. A man desires a woman who chooses him, not one who depends on him to feel complete. When a woman is emotionally independent, she creates an environment where love can flourish without pressure. A man is more likely to commit to a woman who does not suffocate him with expectations, who does not cling to him out of fear, but instead enhances his life without making him her sole focus. She has her own passions, her own goals, and her own sense of purpose. This makes a man want to be part of her world, not because he has to, but because he desires to. Nothing pushes a man away faster than emotional dependency. When a woman relies on a man for her happiness, it places a burden on him that he was never meant to carry. But when she is secure in herself, she creates space for love to be given freely rather than demanded. Emotional independence is the foundation of a healthy relationship. It allows a man to commit not out of obligation, but out of genuine admiration. When a woman shows that she can stand on her own, a man is more willing to stand beside her, knowing that his presence in her life is a choice, not a necessity. Confidence and purpose are the defining qualities of a woman who commands attention without demanding it. A woman who knows who she is and where she is going carries an energy that cannot be ignored. She does not shrink herself to fit into someone else's expectations, nor does she seek validation to feel worthy. She walks into a room with presence, not because of how she looks, but because of the certainty she carries within herself. This level of confidence makes her magnetic, drawing people toward her effortlessly. Men are naturally drawn to women who have a strong sense of purpose. A woman who is focused on her goals, who is passionate about something beyond a relationship, is intriguing. She is not waiting for a man to complete her. She is already complete, and that makes her even more desirable. She has ambitions, dreams, and a vision for her life that extends beyond romance. When a woman moves with purpose, she becomes a source of inspiration, and men are compelled to be part of her journey. Insecurity repels, but self-assurance captivates. A woman who is unsure of herself, who constantly seeks approval, unknowingly diminishes her value in the eyes of others. But a woman who believes in herself, who knows she is enough, regardless of who chooses her, radiates an irresistible energy. She does not chase. She sets a standard. Men respect what they cannot easily possess. When a woman exudes confidence and lives with purpose, she becomes a challenge, not in a manipulative way, but in a way that ignites admiration. A man wants to stand beside a woman who is sure of herself because her certainty strengthens him. Her ambition inspires him, and her presence makes him feel like he is part of something greater. A woman's influence is one of her greatest strengths, but when she attaches herself to the wrong man, she risks losing that power. The wrong man does not build her up, he drains her. He does not celebrate her growth, he stifles it. Yet too often women hold on to relationships out of fear. Fear of being alone, fear of starting over, or fear that they will never find better. But attachment to a man who does not align with her values, who does not respect her worth, or who does not support her purpose, slowly erodes her confidence and weakens her ability to stand in her full strength. A woman connected to the wrong man begins to shrink without even realizing it. She compromises her standards, makes excuses for poor treatment, and overextends herself in an attempt to make things work. She starts to doubt herself, questioning whether she is asking for too much, when in reality she is asking for the bare minimum. The wrong man does not elevate her, he becomes a weight that holds her back from stepping into her full potential. The strongest women are not those who endure unhealthy relationships. They are the ones who have the courage to walk away from them. When a woman detaches from a man who does not serve her growth, she reclaims her influence. She regains her confidence, her self-respect, and her ability to make decisions that align with her true worth. She no longer wastes her energy trying to fix a man who does not want to change. Instead, she redirects that energy toward herself, her purpose, and the life she was meant to build. The wrong man weakens a woman's influence. But the moment she chooses herself over a toxic attachment, she becomes unstoppable. Love thrives in freedom, not in force. When love is real, it is given willingly, not demanded, controlled, or manipulated. Too many people mistake attachment for love, believing that holding on tightly will make someone stay. But true love is not about possession. It is about mutual choice. The strongest relationships are built on the foundation of two individuals who willingly choose each other every day, not out of fear, obligation, or insecurity, but out of genuine desire and respect. When love becomes a chain, it loses its purity. A woman who feels the need to beg for attention, to prove her worth, or to tolerate disrespect in the name of love is not experiencing real love at all. She is experiencing emotional bondage, mistaking dependency for devotion. Love is not supposed to feel like a cage. It should feel like a safe place where both people can grow without fear of being abandoned or controlled. A woman who understands this never forces love. She does not manipulate, chase, or cling because she knows that the love meant for her will not require struggle. She does not seek security by holding on to a relationship that drains her. Instead, she embraces the reality that love must always be given freely without pressure or desperation. A man respects a woman who gives him the freedom to choose her. When he knows that she is not staying out of fear, but out of a deep, unwavering self-respect, he values her more. The moment love turns into a chain, it creates resentment, insecurity, and imbalance. But when love remains a choice, it stays powerful, fulfilling, and unbreakable. Love that is chosen, not forced, is the only love that lasts. A woman's true power lies in her ability to choose herself first. When she understands that love should never come at the cost of her dignity, she becomes unstoppable. A woman who can detach with strength, who refuses to settle for less than she deserves, and who carries herself with confidence and purpose naturally commands respect. She does not chase, she attracts. She does not beg, she sets a standard. And when a man realizes that she is willing to walk away rather than accept anything less than true love, he either rises to meet her or loses her forever. Love should never feel like a cage, nor should it require a woman to lose herself in order to keep someone else. The greatest love is the one that is freely given, not forced, controlled, or begged for. A woman who understands this lives with peace, knowing that she will never have to hold on to what is meant for her. She does not fear loss because she knows that what is real will stay and what is not will make room for something greater. So let every woman remember, her worth is not measured by how much she can endure, but by how firmly she can stand in her truth. The power to walk away is the power to command the kind of love that honors, values, and cherishes her. When she holds this standard, she will never have to question whether she is loved, because the right man will make sure she always knows